All right, so I'd like to welcome everyone to the Building a Better Race website webinar. Today I'll be walking you through how to update your basic race page and then turn it into your own race website so you can showcase your race's personality. I'll also show you the tools that you can use to make your race website stand out to your participants. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is our new full width layout race page. This is right out of the box. And as soon as you create your race through the race wizard, you're going to get this basic template. But we're going to kind of show you the tools to customize your race banner, some call to action items, and things of that nature. So let's get started. You'll notice that we have a sign up button and a donate button as a call to action with a nice race menu here, a banner with an overlay of your race name, as well as your event information, and you can plug in any custom content. And again, all this is stuff that you can add from your basic race wizard. So to go from your race page to the back end, you'll notice you have a profile avatar here in the upper right hand side. If you just click on that, it'll take you to a link for your race dashboard, and that'll take you right to the back end. So now that we're on the back end, you'll also notice that there's a call to action button here on the upper right hand side to view your website. So at any time, you can click on this view website button and it'll take you back to the front end. So you can quickly tab back and forth between your race dashboard and your race website as you're customizing things. So we'll go ahead and just click and tab back. And another thing is our menu search. We can type in different keywords to kind of go over what you're talking about. So today we're covering the race page, so you can just type in a keyword like page, and it'll bring everything up that you can customize about your race page. Same thing with coupons and other different features that you're talking about. So again, all of these items are going to be under the race tab, under the race page section. And so the first thing we're going to do is look at our race theme to kind of give it a little bit personality that ties in with our race here. So you'll notice we have our old legacy template. You can always switch to that at any time, but we're going to talk about the full screen template for today's webinar. There's some full screen customized options here for your design and layout. All of what you saw previously is the default settings, but we're going to kind of customize things to change things up a little bit. So just for this purpose, we're going to switch to an alternative layout. This is where the event details are displayed above and below the image. And that way there's no gradient on the image. So we put a gradient over the image automatically so that way you can actually read the name of the website. So we have our colors here. We're going to expand the colors later, and we can choose when we want to display the race name. I always like showing the race name. And then we have some navigation items. If you have a lot of menu items, you can always expand the more option. We also have some event display options for a grid or a list, depending on how you wanted to do it. So we're going to choose the alternative layout and the list and just kind of quickly save these settings. And we're going to tab back over to our race website and refresh our page. And so you'll notice now we've moved the name of the race to the top and the details at the bottom, and we remove the gradient from the image. So that's the alternate display. We've also changed from a grid for the squares to a list. So those are some different options that you can use to customize the site. Head back to the back end. We have a little bar here that you can add different template options. Definitely want to add your social media, so you can plug in your Facebook and Twitter handle. And so we'll put in the RunSignUp Facebook page. So this is going to add our social media integrated to the sidebar of our website. And we're also going to check on the homepage custom content here. And there's some things that you can do to your banner to help things stand out. So we can preview the layout to see what it looks like when you add these options. And so we're going to add a custom tagline, like the motto of our race. And so we'll just switch on the text here, and we'll pull out from text. Yeah, let me pull this up. We can plug in our text here, and we can also add a race countdown clock to our page. So again, we'll save these settings and then scroll to the top, and again, click this view website button that'll bring us right to our front end. And we'll notice now we have a tagline for our race, as well as a countdown to race day. So these are nice little features that you can add, as well as our Facebook interaction here. So that way runners can interact with you on social media, and it's a really quick way for them to get engaged and follow you on Facebook as well. Again, we'll tab back, and the next section we'll cover is the color scheme. So our default color scheme on RunSignUp is orange and blue, but that really doesn't fit the theme of this race. We're running out in the trails, so I'm going to choose the nature theme here, just to give it a different look and feel. And you can always add your own color scheme depending on your race logo and your colors. We have some color pickers, so you can actually even get the HTML code and plug it in with whatever colors you need. So for this purpose, we're just going to choose the nature theme and go ahead and save the page. And we'll notice now on our race website, we now have the nice nature theme with browns and green tones on it. You can customize whatever colors that you think would fit and match it off of your banner or logo or what have you. The next option we have is our race logo. Again, this was added during the race wizard, but you can always update and change your race logo here as well. And then the race banner image. This is where you can take the default race banner that has Jordan on it. If you work with Jordan, he's actually on our RunSignUp team. And we're going to switch to a banner that better fits our race. Since that was a road race image, we're actually going to scroll down and pick one of our other images. So this guy's running on a trail, so we're going to choose that. You can also choose whatever image you want if you have it on your computer. You can upload an image that's 1200 pixels by 400 pixels, and that way it scales optimally to mobile, tablet, as well as desktop. So we've updated our color scheme and our race banner. So we're going to take a peek at what everything looks like now. So now this kind of runs with the theme of a trail run. We no longer have a banner image of a road race, and we have a nice picture that integrates with our theme. So those are the basics of your theme. We also have some additional customization options such as the content. So we're going to explore how to customize the content on your page and look at how to kind of navigate the menus a little bit next. So we're going to go back into our race dashboard. Under the race tab, we're going to go back to race page, and the very next section is custom content. So you can add anything here as custom content. So for sake of speed here, I've already added some additional information on course details. I've put in my text. I can even now insert an image directly into the content here. And you can even upload a file if needed. Like you have a pre-race packet participant guide, you can upload a file directly to your race website, and that way you can reference that on any media and things like that. You can make this content only displayed for participants if needed, if there's any special content that you want to hide. And there's some other image options that you can do here if you have an attachment. Let's scroll down a little bit further to another feature that we have here. Underneath of the content, you'll see that you can embed a video. So we have YouTube connections, and we also have RunSignUp widgets. So if we have enough time, we'll cover that at the end. And you just plug in your YouTube link and then your video ID, and that's going to place the content directly on the page. So this is all the content that gets added, and you'll notice that it's at the very bottom of the website here. So this all gets added by default to the race page. You can add a promotional video and any type of content that you want. But maybe we want to highlight this information a little bit better and give a better call to action, such as putting it up in the menu. So the next option we're going to talk about is how you can make that content display differently on your page. And that's under the Race tab, under Race Page and Custom Content Display. So now we have all of our content sections that we created, and we can choose if we want to display them as a sub-menu item or a new menu item. Since we have a great course here, we're going to display the course details as its own menu item. And race day parking is kind of equivalent to event information, so we're going to make this a sub-menu. Just choose that here. And then the content title for our Ultra Running in Vancouver promotional video, that's a nice promo video. We want to leave that on the main page. You can also have custom content display only in the confirmation email. So that's a nice way to provide any additional details to participants only if needed. So we're going to actually save these settings since we've changed something and changed our menu, and we're going to view our website again. And we'll notice that our menu has expanded here, and we now have course details as a top menu item, and the event info is now a drop down, and we have race day parking under event info. So this is a way where you can put information in a relevant area of your website as participants are looking for more information. The next option is the actual menu itself. So we've customized where stuff appears within the menu. Under the race page option, we have a menu order. So we can kind of rank things more prominent than others on our website. And there's some other features here as well that you can hide. So the race information page, that's the default page that you land on. So I'm going to hide that from our race menu since you can already click on the race logo to get back to that page. And we already have nice prevalent sign up call to action and donate call to action buttons. So I'm going to hide those as well for this demonstration purposes. And because we have such a great course, I can move this information. You can either click the arrow to move things up and down, or you can actually hold and drag this information up to wherever you want it. So I'm going to make the course details kind of stand out, and I'm going to make our refund policy stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to move those up in the menu order. So we'll go ahead and click save, and we'll notice now we've kind of changed some things around and we've hidden the menu, some of the menu items. So now everything is nice and clear right in the information. I'll click on my course details, and now it brings me right to a page that I can link to and showcase information about this. And again, like I mentioned, the race logo is actually a link back to your home page. So if you click on that, it'll link back to the race info page where we were at. So that's a nice feature as well. So the next thing we want to talk about is the layout of the page. This is the last race page item that I want to cover in this section. If we click layout, it's going to give us a preview of our race website. And as you scroll down to the different sections here in the content, you'll notice that there's some arrows here. And these might be a little hard to see because the theme is picking up the light green, but I can move the place information down a little bit and move my promotion video up a little bit. So that way we have a description, and then our promotion video is highlighted, and then the place is now closer to the directions here at the bottom. And so we can save that order, and now it's been updated on our website to highlight that a little bit better. So the next thing I want to do is take a quick look at our race website. Now that we have our call to action buttons, we have our race menu, and we have our event information here. But there's not a whole lot going on in this information, but we know we have an exciting course to offer people, and we want to get people excited about the different options that we have. So we're going to look at event display options next and see how you can promote different events within your race website. So under the race tab, we're going to go into our registration settings, and then we're going to look at event display options. And this event display option gives us a nice little highlight that we can do. So for the 10K, maybe we want to highlight this as a beginner-friendly course. So we'll highlight beginner-friendly. And the 100K is our best value because obviously you're running the most, so that gets the best value. And there's even some event details here that you can put in the section. So that way you can kind of cause a little bit more action to your races. So let me copy and paste some additional information here just to kind of show you what that is. So again, this is the event highlight, which is going to add a little ribbon over the bar, and then the event details is going to add some more text below the option to kind of tell people a little bit more about that specific event. So we just add a couple of those real quick. So you'll see that we have a save message at the top, and we'll click our view website button here in the upper right to go to the front end. So we'll notice now that we have a nice little ribbon banner that lets people know that the 10K is beginner friendly. And that our 100K trail run is the best value here. You'll notice here is our default text letting people know when the price increases, but you can write whatever information you want about this, such as age-based pricing, if you're offering military discounts, anything that you want people to know prior to them clicking sign up. And we have a nice little message here about what the 100K course kind of entails. So that's another nice way to kind of make your events stand out from one another and what you have to offer. One other way you can do is you can group these events. So let's say that 2 of these races are on Saturday and 2 are on Sunday, but we don't like to have like 4 different events set up here. We can do event grouping to kind of highlight that a little bit as well. Similar to like an obstacle run, or if you have different events set up for pricing purposes, where you have like a military event for a discount, a youth pricing for a discount, and different events like that, you can use the event grouping option to kind of make it look a little bit more appealing. So this is under race registration and then event grouping. We can just add a simple event grouping. And so for this purposes, we're going to add Saturday events and Sunday events. And we're going to say that the 10 and the 25 are on Saturday and the 50 and the 100 are on Sunday. So we'll click Save. And now instead of 4 separate group options on our website, we're going to have 2 because we've grouped them together. And so you'll see now that there's Saturday events, and the events listed on Saturday are the 10K and the 25, and that Sunday events are listed here for those events. And even with event grouping, we do have the display options. So we'll move back to the race registration and event display options tab, and you'll notice that we have the event grouping display options for Saturday and Sunday. So we can still call to action Sunday events just like this. And when we view our website, even the event grouping can be highlighted. So that's a nice way to kind of clean up your page as well. One other thing you can do with your page is obviously you can showcase and highlight your sponsors. So let's go quickly to the sponsor section. And we do have a separate webinar on sponsors. So if you want more information on how to set this up, I definitely recommend checking out that webinar. But for this purposes, we're just going to update our display here under the sponsor display. And we're going to showcase all of this information on the right column of all pages. And we're going to display them on the race page. So now that we've updated our sponsors, you'll notice that as we scroll down to the page, we have our presenting sponsor, our results sponsor, and community sponsor highlighted on our race page. You can also put this sponsor information in your custom content to showcase and better highlight your sponsors as well. So it looks like we have enough time for a little bit of advanced content. And again, this is going through your race menu. People do come to your race website to find information. And if they can't find it, they're likely going to find you and ask you questions on how to do things. So we're going to make it easy for our participants to find information and kind of edit their own registration based on what your race wants to offer. So we're actually going to add an Edit My Registration tab to your menu here. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to go to our race page and our custom content. And we're going to add a new custom section here for Edit Registration. So we'll click Add New Custom Content. Let's do Edit Registration. And so we don't have any content in here because we're actually going to plug in a RunSignUp widget. But we're just going to set up the information first here. So we're going to go create our page. Now we're going to go under the promotion tab under widgets, and we can create a new widget. So if you have different options that you want to display on your race page, such as maybe your scrolling list of donors, your donation goal wheel, participant caps, we have a lot of different widget options that you can do. We're going to add the Edit My Registration widget right to our page. So I'll just give it a name. Edit Registration. I'll choose a style that I've already pre-created here for simplicity purposes, and we're going to go ahead and save our widget. So this generates some code here. So we're going to look at our widgets and our existing widgets. We have an Edit Registration option. We're going to use this Widget ID field here, which is this 5-digit number. So we're going to copy this to our clipboard, and we're going to return back to our custom content page real quick. Scroll down to the bottom where we just added that section for Edit Registration. And just like we added the video content for our promotional video, we're going to add a RunSignUp widget, and we're going to plug in that widget ID. So very simple to do once you create a widget and make it its own custom content. And we'll click Save. And you'll notice that that widget is going to get added to our basic race page, whereas it's just kind of dumped into the bottom here. But we don't want that. We want to make it its own highlighted menu item at the top. So just to review, we're going to go back to the race page and custom content display. And we're going to make this edit registration option to appear as its own menu item. So we'll save that. And then we want to make sure that it's a prominent option. So in our menu order, we're going to bump up this edit registration right next to our course details. So we'll click Save Menu. And now when we view our race website, we've updated our menu. So if I'm already a participant and I'm coming back to look for registration, there's an information here for me to edit my own registration. So I'm kind of logged in, and so it's going to pre-fill out all the information that I have set up here. And at any time you want, you can do different things. You can set up, participants can transfer their own event, they can defer, they can update their t-shirt size. That's all controlled by you as the race director. And we have another webinar on participant management options to showcase how you can put the power into your participants' hands, so that way they can kind of support themselves and change their own options. And so there's another webinar on that, which I would definitely recommend checking out if you want to help cut down on your support load. So adding the edit registration option directly to your website can, be one of those mechanisms to help with that. So that's the basics of everything I wanted to cover today for editing your race website. So let's go take a look at some of the questions here that we have. So David is asking about the Instagram widget. Unfortunately, Instagram changed their policies, so we're not able to integrate with Instagram. If you had that on one of your races, you should have gotten an email about it. But we can check. I can send you the blog post on why we are no longer able to support Instagram anymore. Yep. So we did the YouTube option. There's also Vimeo and some other options here. Let's dive back into the different options on custom content that you can embed. So again, under race page, and custom content, we'll just scroll down to the bottom. The integrated components that you can do is YouTube. You can even put a playlist. So if you have multiple years or different videos that you have, you can do this playlist. Live stream, Ustream, and Vimeo are also other content providers similar to YouTube. Again, you're just plugging in the ID for what you need to plug in there. And then we have RunSignUp widget that you can customize, different options such as the donation scroll wheel, edit registration, participant caps, and things of that nature. And then you can also embed a running ahead map, which is another company that you can embed your course map to, as well as race day photos. Let's see. So RunSignUp page has membership options on the home page. So that might be your club website. You can make your club content only accessible to club members. And then similar to the club content, you can have content on your race page only accessible for participants. And that's the option right here directly below the section heading, that you can hide it for non-participants. One quick note is this edit registration widget. Obviously, if you're not a participant on the race, when you go to that page, it's going to say that we haven't found a registration for you. So you definitely must be logged in, and anybody can't just go and mess with something. It's all secured and logged in through your profile. And Joseph asked, if I'm creating a website from scratch, what would I do and who can help me? So the default at the beginning of the page, that's your default race website that gets created right out of the race website once you create your wizard. And then if you follow along with this guide, go through the different options, this should help you kind of get started. And then we can also have an account manager reach out to you to go over any specific questions that you might have if you're trying to do a little bit more customization. Alicia asks, is there an easy way to set the pixels on a picture you upload? I usually end up doing trial and error, and it's a pain. So it just depends on actually your program that you're using to do it. I use Preview on the Mac, and you just kind of click on the edit options, and I can customize the pixels there. What typically happens is you'll have a constrained proportions, and you'll need to uncheck that if it's not in the right ratio. and you can do a Google search depending on what program you have and how to change the dimensions on whatever program and kind of get the information on doing that. And Joseph asked for sponsors. Can you set up a sponsor page and add logos? Yep, all that is covered in our sponsor webinar as well. You can peruse the sponsor tab on the back end. That's one of our key features. So on the race menu, you'll see the sponsors tab, and you can kind of go through and manage information there. Definitely check out the sponsor webinar to see how to best leverage that with your sponsors and connect everything. And then it looks like there might be some audio issues here, so we'll definitely make sure the recording is up. We are recording it, and we're going to send all that information over to you guys. So there was one other person that was having trouble, but everything should be in the recording, and we'll make sure we get you the good notes as well. So Jimmy says these races cater to race directors with specific events, and what about a timing page? So we do have partner websites, so that's not in the scope of this particular webinar. So definitely we'll have an account manager reach out to you to go over your options with that kind of information, and that way your timing company can build something. I guess just to give you a kind of preview of that, if you type in timingmat.com, it'll forward you and redirect you to my basic little page. Obviously, I don't have any races, so this is kind of a quick preview. And there's other people that use our partner pages, such as Good Time Races, and there's lots of stuff you can do there for timers. Let's go back. Let's see, how do I add different events on my home page? So the events are all added during the race webinar. During the race wizard. If you go under the race tab and race wizard, this is where it'll break down where you can add your event. There'll be a section for set up your events. And if you need to add additional details, such as a virtual run, you can always come back to the race wizard and type in virtual trail run. So you can run on any trail that they want, and we'll just click and add the event and save it. And so that's going to add a new event to the page. We'll go back to our race website, and this isn't grouped, so it's going to be its own special tab, and now we've added a virtual trail run to our race website. So just go back into the race wizard at any time, and you can add the basic events there. So how does this view on other phones and other formats? So our websites are all load balanced and mobile optimized. We go back and tweak our information about every 6 months to make sure that we're staying up to date with current best practices. So you'll notice that if we scroll, and let's shrink our menu, let's see how that translates on the webinar. It all scrolls and can view in a phone. There's the menu becomes a nice little clickable little hamburger menu, and the call to action buttons are still there. So everything's definitely registering on mobile. We're seeing over 65% of people accessing race websites and registering on mobile. So everything is mobile friendly, and people can register directly on their phones. A few more questions here. Let's see. Where's the best place to highlight the history of the race? Again, I would definitely recommend creating a menu tab for the history and putting whatever information you want. As you post results on RunSignUp, the results year after year will get automatically updated. Same thing with photos. Last year's information is always going to be accessible, and we build on your same race website every single time. So that way you don't have to change your URL from year to year. The URL stays the same, and the content just gets archived on your page. So most of the history automatically builds, such as results and photos. But if you have any specific things that you want to call out, you can definitely add a menu item for that. So you should be good to go there. Is it difficult for the timer to do the website instead of the race director? It really depends on how you're handling things. If you're a timer that's going to be more full service and you use our system, we do have lots of partners that create races for race directors, and they kind of handle things. But some race directors want to kind of get their hands dirty and kind of set things up. It's really up to your relationship that you have with your customer, but it's pretty easy to do. And again, you can send them the webinar on how to set up your race through the race wizard, and that way they get the basics in for you, and then you can help them customize to make a nice looking race page for them by going over the steps that we covered today. It says, from Deb, it says that this is actually a website and registration page in one. So absolutely. So this is the race website, and at any time I can click sign up and I'm right into our full service registration. So because I'm logged in, it's a very quick step for me to fill out my information. I can then say I want to run on Saturday and pick out one of my events that I grouped on Saturday and continue right through the registration process. So everything is here, and then there's also a back to race website button in the upper right hand side that'll take me right back to the race page. So everything is combined at the same spot. So Jose asked for the best places to display the race map or maps. So one cool thing is if you use RaceJoy, which is a participant tracking tool, we automatically upload the RaceJoy map to the RunSignUp menu. And if you have a great course, I would do just like I did today and highlight your course details by adding it as a custom map and inserting your image or the coordinates or link to whatever software you use for your course mapping. Robin asked, can volunteers be a button on the race page? So yes, we are going to have a volunteer webinar next week covering that. When you do add the volunteers to the race page, it's going to be its own menu item. So the volunteer menu will appear right here where all the other menus do. It's not a separate call to action button. We reserve those for signing up and registering for the race and donating, but the volunteer section will be a prominent menu item for people to sign up and volunteer. Michelle asked a great, what if we want a new URL? Do you need to start over and enter as a new race? No, you can update your race URL, contact your account manager. One other thing I forgot to mention is if we go back to our race dashboard, you can create shorthand URLs, which are good for race day registration, flyers, shorthand. The reason, if we go back to our race website, you'll notice I'm highlighting our URL. The URL is pretty long, but we do that for SEO purposes. This gets us and your race website found higher than the other on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. So if people are searching for your race, because of the way we construct the URLs, it automatically helps with your search engine optimization. You still can use a short URL. Again, in the menu search, you can just type in URL, and that's actually going to take you to a page here for race URL. And you'll notice I've added some quick URLs, runsignup.com/Vancouver Trail Run, and then even shorter for something like a tweet or even on a flyer, runsignup.com/VTR. So if I go and type in runsignup.com/VTR, boom, it's going to take me to the Vancouver Trail Run as a short menu. But again, the actual race website that we construct is search engine optimized for things like that. Yeah, Jimmy, we'll reach out to go over the timer website again. That'd be a little bit more of an advanced feature. So I don't want to bog people down too much with that. So we'll have somebody reach out to you. We want to group together some of the top menu items. Yeah, we can't group together the existing menu items that we have as separate tabs. So that's why in this case I hid the race info tab because again I can click on the icon here to do that, but you can't combine the race info and event info because those are their own RunSignUp prominent menu items. So like I can't put the find a participant tab or the refund policy under each other because they're their own separate RunSignUp websites. Laura, I'm not really sure what you mean by have a P2P webinar, but if you need to schedule some time with an account manager, we'll have somebody reach out to you. Another thing, when you're ready to use, Felicia asked a great question here. When you're ready to set up your race for next year, you do not want to use the copy the race button. You actually want to renew your race, and that coincides with, I believe, what Jose was asking earlier about building the history of your race. Renewing your race builds the history. So if we go back to Let's see, one of my races that's in the past here. So we have a timing test here. When you access your race dashboard after the race is over, you're going to have this nice little call to action button where Ron is letting you know it's time to renew your race, and you're going to walk through the renewal process. That, again, keeps your race URL and SEO options in the forefront. Because if you renew your race and copy and set up a new URL each year, that SEO has to rebuild every single time. And by building the history and reusing the same URL each year, you're going to get found much higher on Google and search engines. So it's very important to renew your race instead of copying it. A bundled registration option, Karen asked a good question. So this is more for registration. So definitely reach out to an account manager to go over that. But you can set up a lot of different options for bundling depending on what you want to do. You can actually just add a separate event for like a bundle, so they get 2 different races. And there's ways to kind of put them in the reporting. So we'll definitely have account managers reach out to any questions that aren't webinar specific. Joseph asks a question, if you have an old race website URL, such as fanwood5k.org, how do you set it up to a new site? So this is great. So if you're the owner of your own domain or a timer that's helping race directors build their brand, you can get a domain and purchase one, such as like fanwood5k.org, and set up a 301 redirect. And so that way, when somebody types that in, it'll automatically redirect them to the RunSignUp page. And so just one that comes to mind here is the coke10k.com. You'll see I'm typing in my address bar coke10k, and when I hit enter, it's going to automatically jump to their race website. So this race just happened, and you'll see this is the old theme. So we'll probably reach out with them and show them how to update their race website to the new theme. But that's a very cool thing, is if you own your own domain, you can automatically set up a 301 redirect to do that. Yep, Amanda asking, you have multiple short URLs. Yep, you have 5 different short URLs that we did. And this example, I just had 2 set up because I couldn't think of anything else that I wanted to put in there. So we're all set. And for fundraising, we have a fundraising webinar. So again, we can look at our webinar recordings. So we have a webinar calendar coming up, and we have previous webinars that cover some of these topics. And we'll also probably be building a link to those in the follow-up email. So we should get all set. And then Joseph asked, who actually sets up the 301 redirect? So that would, you'd have to contact whoever you have through your hosting provider. There's different hosting providers such as, web.com, GoDaddy. So you would have to set that up through those services. We don't actually set that up for you. So we went a little over on the Q&A, but we definitely have some good questions that came in. So we'll be following those up and sending the recording, as well as having some account managers reach out for things that we didn't touch base on the specific webinar today. Again, thanks so much for everybody attending. Great questions, and we hope to see you next week at our volunteer platform webinar. Thanks, guys.